Hi everyone, Janie here, and today I'm going to be doing a review of Neenah Cardstock, and I'm also going to be comparing it against Staples Cardstock. I decided to do this review because I have been hearing people say, oh, and I'm using Neenah Solar White Cardstock, and I'm using Neenah Solar White Cardstock, and I hear that so much, and I thought, I need to check this out, because over the past 4 years, I have been using Staples White Cardstock. I use my Staples white cardstock for coloring with alcohol inks, distress ink markers, watercolors. I use it for embossing and die cutting and making cards. I use it for everything, and it just seems like everybody else is using Neenah Solar White Cardstock. In my comparison, I'm going to be printing out images on both of them, and I'll be using an inkjet printer, and I will be using a laser printer. And I will also be showing you embossing and die cutting. This review is not sponsored in any way. You are going to be getting my opinion from my personal experiences, and I have purchased these cardstocks on my own. They were not given to me by anyone to try. This is truly not sponsored at all, so you are going to be getting an honest review. And I will also share a bit of information that I got in a Copic coloring class at Scrapbook Expo. Information that you might find interesting. So I discovered a few things while researching Neenah Solar White Cardstock. For example, it's not as simple as just looking for Neenah Solar White Cardstock. For example, it comes in Classic Crest or Exact Index. It also comes in 80-pound or 110-pound. And there is another Neenah White Cardstock, which is what you're looking at in front of you right now. So not knowing exactly what each of you are using, I would have had to have bought several, which I am not willing to do. And another thing I wasn't willing to do was to pay that price, because I couldn't believe how expensive Neenah Solar White Cardstock is, and I would never pay that price myself. I checked around at prices, and whether you were buying 80-pound cardstock at scrapbook.com or 110-pound at Simon Says Stamps, you were paying about $9 for 25 sheets. Holy cow! And if you buy it by the ream, which is how I buy my cardstock, so that's like 250 sheets, you are paying over $50 and upwards of $60 for a ream. That's outrageous. But the 110-pound Neenah cardstock that I'm showing you today was only $13.99 for a pack of 300, and I will be comparing that against my Staples cardstock, which is also 110 pounds, and I paid $16.29 at Staples. As you can see, this Neenah cardstock is white, and it is 94 bright. And this is the 110-pound cardstock that I use from Staples, and it is also white. And I'm going to get a close-up here to show you that it also says it is acid-free, and I could not find that on the Neenah cardstock. But I'm hoping it's also acid-free. I have printed out identical digital images on both cardstocks and also in both inkjet and laser. I'll be coloring the pumpkins with my Spectrum Noir alcohol markers and the flowers with my Distress inks and a water brush, so it represents watercoloring. Okay, I brought in a matte so there's a little contrast here because my camera doesn't seem to like white on white too much. So first of all, I am not a colorist in any way, so we're not here to look at how pretty my coloring is, because it's probably not. And also, I didn't finish coloring the flowers because I just wanted to get enough of the watercoloring on there so that you would, be able to see how it does. So this is alcohol ink. This is watercolor. These are both Canon inkjet printers. And this is the Neenah 110 down here. And this is the Staples 110 up here. And first thing I wanted to show you is they are both white. And so they're equal. And the other thing is they are both totally smooth, very smooth. no texture to them whatsoever. And see, I'll put the pumpkins side by side here so that you could see they color up absolutely beautifully. Now I'm going to turn them over. So this is the Neenah on this side, and this is the Staples, and they both come through the back just as equally. On the watercoloring, on this particular one, which is the Staples one, you can see that it shows through a little bit, and that is actually the only one it shows through on, is this particular one, and I had just primed my water brush when I did this, so I got too much water on there, but you will see it doesn't come through on the others. So this is the watercoloring. See if we can get it to focus here. And it watercolors beautifully. This is nice. There is, you know, it's not all puckery and weird. This one is just a tiny bit, like I said, because I had put too much water. I just primed the brush. So I think these came out equal. And now we're going to move over to the Brothers. So this is done on a Brother laser printer. And again, this is watercolor. This is alcohol ink marker. And we'll put them side by side again. And you can see that they both colored beautifully. Same thing with the watercolor. They color beautifully. We're going to turn it over. I'll keep Neenah on that side. You can see that the pumpkins bled through the same. And as I told you, on this one, you're not going to see any bleed through of the watercolor on either one. So, like I said, the other one just had too much water on it. But they both worked equally. And so I'm quite pleased with that. I really can't tell the difference. When I colored on them, I couldn't tell the difference. Looking at them, feeling them, there is not a difference. They're both sturdy, they're both white, and they both work beautifully for digital printing, coloring. I didn't do any stamping on these, mostly because I figured the digital was just as good. That seems to be actually the issue in life, is, you know, the digital printing. So I just did it with digital. And I really wanted to show you, let me grab this. I really wanted to show you this. So I've always been told, now, not before I started coloring. I've been coloring for years with alcohol ink markers and watercolors and doing it on my Staples paper, cardstock. And then all of a sudden everybody's saying, oh no, you can only do that on Neenah. And oh no, you can only use laser. You can't, you can't do digital printing with your inkjet, because then you can't color it, because the watercolors will smear and the alcohol inks will smear. And I actually did this to prove you all wrong. And that's where the bit of information comes in. When I took a Copic coloring class, I asked after the class, I said, I've been using Staples cardstock for years and printing with my inkjet printer. And the lady smiled and she tells me, yes, your Staples cardstock will work just fine. And with most inkjet printers, you do need to wait until the ink dries, so you have to let it sit a while. And that explained why I never had a problem, because, well, number one, I use Canon and they use a different type of ink, but also because I usually print my stuff out and don't even color it until the next day. So these actually had sat a day before I did this, and not on purpose, but because I wasn't ready to do the video yet. I was just getting things ready. So this is my review on printing, coloring with alcohol inks, coloring with watercolors. I think they're absolutely wonderful. And definitely I have no idea why anybody is spending the amount of money they are on solar white cardstock. If you can tell me why solar white, what is it about that makes it different than the other Neenah or the other one? If you can tell me, leave me a comment below. I would love to hear it. Okay, so now let's get on to seeing how they emboss and die cut. Okay, we're going to start off with die cutting, and I've got an N on this one for Neenah.
Okay, it doesn't want to focus, but trust me, it's an N, and this one is an S. There you go. You can see that. So we're going to start with Neenah, and you'll have to excuse my plates. They're really horrible, but they still work. And I'm going to be using these 2 butterfly dies, and one is intricate, one is not, and they are from this Sizzix die set. So let's give this a try. And put this through. Sorry, I'm in the way of the camera here. You can just look at my arm. Okay, I'll bring it back through. And let's see what we've got. Now, a lot of times with intricate dies, if you watch my videos, I flip it over. Like, not the whole thing, but I'll flip these 2 plates over and do it on the other side. But I'm not doing it this time. We're just going to see what happens. So the reason why I flip it over is some dies, especially intricate ones, work better if they are upside down. So cut out the solid one beautifully and easily. And let me see here. Yep. Okay. I am able to poke out some of the little pieces. I probably have to get my little goodie to get out the rest of the pieces, but I'm just showing you here that they are coming out. So that's a good sign. All right. So that was Neenah. I'm going to set those down over here. And now we're going to grab, where did it go? The S for staples. And we are going to do the same thing. So put these on here. And we're going to run it through. And again, my arm is going to get in your way, maybe. Yep, it's in your way. All right. So there we go. Let's see how this one did. And again, that one came out beautifully without any problems. Let's see how this one came out. Oh, the pieces are popping right out of this. I just need to, it's really stuck to the die. There we go. Okay, so just like the other one, the pieces are popping right out. So they both die cut beautifully. So I'm going to set that aside, and let me grab an embossing folder. Okay, again, we have the N and the S so that we can keep them straight. I've got an embossing folder. It has plenty of lines in it, so this will be a good test. And again, I'm going to start with the Neenah. So we'll just slip that right in there. And the plates I use for embossing look so much nicer than the ones I use for die cutting. Okay, let's run this through. And run it back. I'm running it back mostly because it's hard to access this around the camera. Okay, let's see how it did. Oh yeah. Very nice. Those are very deep. This is actually an embossing folder that if I'm using a thinner cardstock, it sometimes puts holes in it. So I have to be careful, but I thought it would be the real test to use that particular embossing folder on these. So the Neenah held up beautifully and embossed beautifully. Let me grab the S for staples, and let's give it the same test. So far, these are working great, and these are the inexpensive Neenah ones, by the way. This is not the ones that you guys are paying, you know, $9 for 25 sheets, or, you know, $50, $60 for a ream. This is the $13.99 for 300 sheets. And here's the staples. Again, the same thing. There is no holes in this whatsoever. It's really deep embossing. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but this is really deep embossing. And it came out beautiful on both of them. Here they are, side by side. Very good.
I hope this review was helpful, and in my opinion, both of those cardstocks are equal, and I would be happy using either one of them. And please remember that this review is based off from my personal experience with my personal opinions. Happy crafting, everyone. Bye-bye.